This is episode 340 and we're talking all about, well, I'm not really converting on Instagram. Welcome to the Content Queen podcast. I'm your host, Mariah, entrepreneur, storyteller, digital nomad, creative content bootcamp, and founder of Content Queen with over 10 years experience in marketing. This podcast is here to help you create your ideal content marketing strategy by blending storytelling and strategy. So let's get into it. All right, this is a concept that I hear a lot. I'm not converting on Instagram. Now, disclosure for this episode, not in the bus. We are glamping on Rottnest Island for Mitch's birthday. And of course, Friday was getting all the client work ready because I knew we would be back Monday. So the podcast didn't get filmed in the bus. So we're doing it in our glamping little room. We have this nice couch. It's really cold because glamping and like the heater is used as the prop for the camera. So the heater is not on and I'm cold. So excuse the blanket if you're watching this on Spotify or YouTube, but we're going to keep warm for this episode. All right. So I also am going to be reading from my notes as well because usually I have them propped in another place. But anyway, that's fine. You're going to get the gist of this episode, which, as I said, is really about the term or the concept or you saying to yourself, I'm not converting on Instagram. It's a question that comes up with people that are in bootcamp. It comes up in my inbox and it comes up with clients as well. But this is the reframe that I want you to take away from this episode. The real issue isn't Instagram. It is the role that you have assigned Instagram in your overall funnel. Now, I say Instagram because it seems to be this channel that has this hold on us, like this mindset on us. Like we don't have it from LinkedIn. I don't see it talked about on Facebook. I don't see it talked about TikTok. I just see it from Instagram. And I think it was just because it became this channel that we thought it was. And it's not. It's just another social media channel in the overall thing. Maybe you're saying it about about social media in general. But I want to talk about it in the terms of Instagram because, as I said, it's the specific channel that everyone holds this kind of like golden, I don't know, we have these like rosy colored glasses on when we think about Instagram. And I don't know why. And we have this love-hate with Instagram. We have all of these expectations on this channel that is just a channel that was created for people in the 2010s to post our photos on with the Valencia filter. Like literally my first ever Instagram, my first ever post was like my dog laying in the hallway with Valencia filter. Like it was literally a photo sharing platform. And now apparently it's this whole marketing thing, which yeah, cool. It is. It totally is. But I want to share 3 stories from a client that I had or a bootcamp student, from a client I had in 2021 and a client that I still have. And we have talked about Instagram and gone back and forth with it for so many different reasons because of, again, having that strategy and that sort of reality check that was needed. And it's not to say just when you have a strategy, and the whole point of this episode is, yes, having that strategy does help you recalibrate your relationship with Instagram. But even with a strategy, we always need those mindset resets, those check-ins and those reframes, because one of these clients does have a strategy. And again, we always need to come back. So let's go with the first one. The first client being this lead magnet and ad strategy of Instagram that still needs the recheck and the reframe. So LinkedIn was her main channel in terms of getting corporate clients and some coaching clients. So she has sort of a couple of arms to her business. And Instagram really was there to build leads for the coaching part of it because her LinkedIn was really about coaching, but corporates, etc. And the reoccurring question that has come back is, what is the point of Instagram? And she found herself getting really frustrated because Instagram was slower in growth. It was a channel she didn't particularly like being on. And when she was there, she felt herself going into this like spiral of comparing herself, or not really comparing herself, but comparing what other business owners were doing, because I find it's not often about comparison of her character or her business. It's more just like what everyone else was doing. just getting stuck on the platform, because that's what the platform's designed to do, be addictive. So then she kept coming back to this like, okay, why am I even here? But the whole original goal was Instagram existed to run ads, to build up her funnel so that she could convert her funnel through email marketing and workshops, etc. So Instagram was really about credibility and personal brand, not really to direct or be the owner of the whole conversation of what she was there to do. So in the end, we sat down and reevaluated what Instagram was here to do. So we looked at her spending time on Instagram, engaging, showing up there, like specific videos and things that we were doing on Instagram, as opposed to which meant spending less time on LinkedIn. Just doing all the things that weren't lighting her up. Doubling down on what I could see was working on Instagram, and then taking that upon me to do, right? So then the shift happened that she would be spending less time on Instagram trying to be social there, which I know I always say, social media is a platform to be social, but that wasn't lighting her up, and it was causing more friction in her business, right? So that's why there's no like hard rules on anything that we do when marketing our business. So she could spend more time on LinkedIn, on the channels that she liked, creating content that she liked, and then using her ads to build the funnel, which she'd already tested and validated worked. And then Instagram became a landing place for people to learn more about her work, rather than a platform that she actively performs or uses. So then my role is creating things and tweaking the profile so that when people land there, they can get a taste for what she does. And then that could mean her doing some extra video, but it was all about optimizing, because she was getting some really good traffic to her profile. They just weren't going through to the website. So it was just suggesting a disconnect when people landed there of what she was here to do. So that's where data becomes really important. So that's the first client. And that's where we're going to, again, reshift what Instagram's there to do, and then put eggs in other places, other baskets.
I just want to hijack this episode to tell you about something that is generally helping and changing the game for business owners that I work with. So if you're sitting there at 5 p.m. scrambling, not sure what to do, what to post, you are not alone. And I have in fact been there, along with many other businesses that I've worked with, getting to my laptop, throwing something together, pushing it out there, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Now, this is not strategy, and it really feels like survival. That is why I created Content Bootcamp. It is my signature program that takes you through the 7 steps to create a really intentional and aligned content strategy for your business. One that is actually documented, is actually for you, and actually gets results. So there's no more guessing, no more winging it, and no more content hamster wheel. By the end of your journey in Content Bootcamp, you'll have a clear plan on what to post, where to post it, and why, plus the confidence to actually execute it. And you're not doing it alone, because I do live calls all the time, so you'll get access to me. I can help you with your strategy, and a community of other business owners that are doing the same thing. You'll also get lifetime access, so if your business evolves and grows and changes, it will grow and evolve and change with you. So if you are ready to stop winging it and start being intentional with your marketing, get a strategy behind you, head to contentqueenmariah.com, check out Bootcamp, Content Bootcamp. I would love to see you there.
The second client was from Bootcamp, and it was quite interesting because in this last round of Bootcamp, we have a WhatsApp group, and during the live round, we have that WhatsApp group. It's open certain days for us to have conversation. And it was really interesting because one of the first conversations before we'd even done hot seats, because I'll do hot seats and build strategy, was, oh, well, Instagram's not working for me because I'm not getting any leads. And I said, okay, cool. Let's talk about that. Like, she was being consistent for a period of time. She's like, it's not working, I'm not getting leads. Or I'm not selling, sorry, she didn't say not getting leads, she said, I'm not making any sales on Instagram. So Instagram doesn't have to convert necessarily from a sales perspective, but of course we want it to do something. So I challenged her role of what Instagram was there to do and positioned it as more of a top of funnel platform. So if you're thinking about a marketing funnel where like you get your eyeballs, where people see who you are, and then a limited amount, like from there, not everyone's going to go down further to the funnel to eventually convert. So we looked at that and she said, yeah, well, I actually really, I love my video content. So then we started to change the role of Instagram from becoming a sales platform, which she could do through the DMs. So I put into her strategy some time to focus on actually like DMing potential leads rather than just like doing a post and hoping they see it and convert, because that just doesn't happen. That's where our sales brain needs to come on, not our marketing brain. And we started to create more active content on YouTube where she could go deeper, and then using Instagram as a pusher for people to watch her YouTube and to get more from her, to go deeper, because the work she does is deep, right? So Instagram's real job was DMs, relationship building, community, and guiding people towards YouTube, where they could experience her work on a deeper level, not just, it needs to create sales. So the key point for this is this doesn't have to mean that she stops promoting on Instagram. It just means that there isn't a straight line of where we see content and convert. So someone might see an Instagram post, go to her website, leave. They may see an Instagram post, go to her YouTube, and then go through to her website and then potentially leave. They could go to her Instagram, follow her, that's it. And then they start to create these sort of different destination points, which means eventually through nurturing, they may buy. But not everyone's going to buy from you that falls on your Instagram page or sees a video from you. That's just the reality. So people bounce around. Instagram might have played a role in the journey, but the decision or the deciding factor comes later. And that's really hard to track. So she doesn't actually know that it's not a sales channel because someone may buy from watching a YouTube, but they started on Instagram. You may have, where did you find me? Where did you see me? I saw a YouTube video. But the truth is they may have started following you on Instagram before that. So remember, it's not always linear. I've talked about this. And just you can utilize your social media or your Instagram in particular as a lead to go deeper without having to ask for the sale. YouTube, podcast, blog, whatever that looks like. How can we get people to go deeper and learn more about you without going straight to a sales page? And then the third one, this one was a little while ago, a similar sort of concept to client 2, but we were working together in this sort of like COVID era. And again, she was a business owner where LinkedIn was where a lot of her business came from. But back in that sort of peak COVID times, everyone was converting straight from Instagram. So whilst, yes, we could have argued back then that Instagram was like a real straight sales channel, and some of us forget that it's changed so much. So there wasn't that burnout or that social media exhaustion yet at this time. And whilst her main channel was LinkedIn, and most of her clients was there, she was seeing Instagram as this place that she wanted to conquer or win, because there were so many people at that period of time gaining loads of followers, getting likes, getting views. Reels had just kind of started. People were making like loads of money on Instagram. So it felt like this sort of like holy grail channel that we all had to conquer. So she used Instagram as that sort of lighter touch point, but kept sort of expecting people to convert, kept expecting her page to grow, because that's what she thought she should be doing and that's what everyone else was seeing. So there was such this disconnect, right? And this really disheartened her. This made her feel not good enough. She felt like she wasn't doing quote unquote Instagram properly. And she was comparing herself, and it was just not a good place to be in. So what we did is we looked at her data, we looked at her Google Analytics. We saw that LinkedIn was a really big channel for her website traffic, and then YouTube. And YouTube in particular was her biggest lead generator. So she had videos that were performing really well, and we could see that people were joining her mailing list from these particular videos. And this was sort of a relief moment for her, because actually she really enjoyed her YouTube. She sort of left it dormant at that period of time because she was trying to spend more time on Instagram. And similar to kind of that pattern in client 2 was, she loved that YouTube. She loved creating videos. So then there became a new use for Instagram, repurposing, cutting up video content, not always directing people to the YouTube necessarily, but just showing up and just being there, so that people could sort of get a feel for her business, get a feel for who she was, And to be fair, a lot of people following her on that Instagram were other people in business industry, not necessarily her ideal audience. So it was just a way for her to feel like she was showing up, she was being on this channel, she could post her lighthearted, more personal things if she wanted to, versus LinkedIn being a little bit more of her corporate audience. So she really changed the way she saw Instagram and then focused a lot more energy on her YouTube. So LinkedIn and YouTube ended up becoming her sales platforms, and Instagram just became this place where she could, keep up with people in the entrepreneurial world. She could share a little bit more of her personal life, and she could share the videos of her work from her YouTube with minimal effort. So it's so interesting that these 3 business owners had a similar experience of seeing Instagram as this holy grail platform, but then tweaking and changing the way they saw Instagram based on their strategy, their goals. And as I said, this is not a linear journey. I'm sure, one client I don't work with anymore, and actually moved back to where they are from, and now do their whole business in a different language. So it's a little bit different. But the other 2, I'm sure, will come back to me at some point, because it's a cycle. We all go on it. Honestly, we all feel it. We all feel frustrated with marketing. We all feel frustrated with finance. We all feel frustrated with business in general. We all have cycles. And think about if you are a woman as well. I think everyone aligns to sort of like the energies of a certain month, but being women as well, if you are a woman listening to this, it happens all the time with our menstrual cycle of how sometimes we want to burn everything and start again. But in these moments, this is where having that strategy is so valuable, because we can come back to it and remind ourselves and reframe. But really what's so important is we are not content creators, we are business owners. Some channels are for content creation and connection, and others are for directing people to your website, and some can convert directly. And if Instagram isn't converting for you, the question is, what is the role that you have assigned it, and is that the right role? Then you can get strategic based on your data, based on your audience, based on what's happening in your business, and create that role for it so you feel energized, you like it. When I stopped sort of selling heavily on my Instagram and used it for my podcast, used it to show up and share travels, it's just a place where I show up consistently for my audience, where they remember me, where they can go and check out my podcast, they can join my mailing list. And I also use it for DMs and messaging people and selling through the DMs over feeling like every piece of content has to convert them into a sale. Do I still do sales type posts? Yes, because again, we're business owners. We're not content creators where we just share day in the lives and my outfit of the day or get readies with me. We actually need to share what we're doing so that when people do land, they go, oh. So it's not always I post this conversion post and people will go to my website. It can be I post this conversion post and I share it with someone that was interested in my work. Or I pin it to the top of my profile so that when people land on my page, they see it. Like, each post has its own individual role. So this is the exact type of work we do in strategy. We work out what these channels are here to do, and we create a plan so that you can feel good about marketing your business. You don't have to feel like every platform has to make money. And it's interesting. I get clients all the time that send me posts from influencers that have talked about the most performing channels. And they say, oh, we should start here, we should start there. But that's based on making money off a platform. That's not based off being a business owner. And the thing is, there are so many people online talking about the success they've gotten through social media channels, but they'll know that they're getting sales through particular posts, etc. But they don't know the person's journey to the absolute from A to B unless they've sat down and asked every single person. They also have a very different business to you. And even if they have a similar niche, their audience is different, right? Everyone's audience behaves differently. And even a particular person behaves differently depending on what they're buying as well. Like, our behaviors for buying for our business versus buying for our personal life can be totally different. Or buying one product versus a service, or buying 2 products. Depends on our needs, our wants, our desires, and it's up to you to find out what happens with your audience. Not for you to go and watch someone else tell you how they market to their audience. right? There's a difference. So if you don't have a content strategy, if you're feeling burnt out by platforms like Instagram because they're not converting for you or they're not quote unquote working, which happens a lot, Instagram's not working. Well, what does working mean? And is that right for you? Content strategy bootcamp. I'm running a live round. If you're listening to this live whilst this episode's come out, it's starting September 16. I'm only able to take on a few amount of people because we do live hot seats. And these hot seats are about that person's business. And there's a lot of work involved in it. So currently I have 4 spots as I'm particularly recording this episode, but it could be less by the time you listen. So check it out. If you're listening to this not live, I am consistently running boot camps. So even when you join, you'll get invited into the next live round and I'll reach out to you as soon as you purchase, or if you have any questions, just message me, email me, and I'll let you know when the next one's running. My goal is to have one finished and then start a new one within a few weeks. So check it out. If you don't have a strategy, this is the place to start. It's dedicated time to sit down and do it. And honestly, it is a lot better than just posting and hoping for the best and then getting frustrated when the channels are not quote unquote working. So across all these 3 clients, there is a common thread. Instagram wasn't the problem. It was really about being unclear or misplaced on the expectation of what that channel was here to do. So if you have a misplaced or an unclear expectation of Instagram, it's time to sort that out because otherwise this channel is going to continually not work for you. Be a content queen or king and remember that developing your strategy or story develops your business. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to share this with all your business and entrepreneurial friends. If you've had someone say to you in the past week, Instagram's not working for me or Instagram isn't converting or making me money, send this to them, please. And you can do that by adding it to your Instagram stories or send them the link. You could rate and review the show if you haven't already. I know a lot of you have, but if you take time to leave a rate and review and you haven't, please do. It helps me get some amazing guests on the show. It helps me keep showing up for you. And we have some great guests, so stay tuned for that. And follow me, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Let me know if there's any episodes you want me to talk about in the future as I'm starting to plan out the new months ahead. I'd love to hear what you want to hear. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.